What is going on, guys? It's Panj here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the ultimate FPS increase guide for ARK Survival Evolved in 2018. This FPS guide also increased FPS with inside of ARK Aberration and any other of the ARK DLCs which are currently playable. Whether you be playing on a vanilla server or a highly modded server, you'll be seeing FPS increases across the board, regardless of what sort of machine you're running on, whether that be a low-end, medium-end, or high-end machine, whilst keeping the visual fidelity of the game to an acceptable level. The main purpose of this guide is to ensure that everybody playing ARK and everybody watching this video can get the best FPS possible, regardless of what sort of machine they're running on and regardless of what sort of budget they're on. Making sure we are getting the best performance possible, the least amount of stuttering, removing any stuttering you might be having from the game, or at least helping that, ensuring that your frame rates are as high as they possibly can be, and further optimizing the game and the operating system itself to ensure that you're getting the very most out of your PC and getting the best performance possible. If you guys do find this guide helpful, please do leave a like on this video as it helps out a ton. And for any of you guys who are frequent followers of my content, I've also included my Patreon link down below, so if any of you guys wish to go over there and support the channel further, it would be deeply appreciated, but it is not necessary. We're going to be keeping this guide as simple and as to the point as possible. If you guys have any questions or queries during the guide, or just want to leave your results from this guide down below in the comment section, that'd be deeply appreciated as well. And then with all that said and done out of the way, let's get straight on into the guide. So starting off, what you guys need to do is navigate down into the description down below and you'll find an FPS pack link by myself. It should be on Dropbox. Once you guys have gone inside of there, just simply download the file, put it onto your desktop, and you'll be given a file that looks just like this, the ARK Survival Evolved 2018 FPS Increase Pack by Panj. Now to open this file, you're either going to need a program called 7-zip or WinRAR, depending on which one you want to go with. It doesn't matter, they both do the same thing. If you don't have either of the programs installed, simply go into the description down below, deep down in there, and there'll be a link for 7-zip and WinRAR. So simply go ahead and install one of those programs, and you can then open up this folder. Once you've then done that, put the folder on your desktop, right click on the folder, and hit extract here. Following on from there, you'll then be given a folder on your desktop that looks just like this. Simply go inside of the folder, and inside of the folder you'll notice there is a game files folder, optimizations folder, a credits.txt, and a launch options.txt. Now within inside of here, you can find the original download links for all of the optimizations and stuff within inside of the credits.txt, so you can go and pay credits over towards the original creators of those and check out their websites as well. I highly recommend you go inside of the credits and you'll find all of the authors' websites within inside of there. So starting off, what we're going to be doing is installing our custom game files first. So simply go inside of the game files folder, and then within inside of here, you're going to be seeing 4 options. You'll find high end, low end, medium end, and ultra low end. So depending on what your system is like and what config you want to go for, we're going to be matching our system specs to the config within inside of here. Now, if you guys after this guide are not happy with the results and you want a slight bit more FPS, I do recommend maybe bumping down your config to the one below. So say if you go with medium, you could also try the low end config as well, and that might give you the results in which you are looking for. So assuming that I'm recording this on my high end gaming machine and not my low end one, which I do most of my testing on, and I'm personally going to be going with the high end config. So go inside of which config you're going to be using. I'm going to be going with high end. Then within inside of the config, you'll notice there's an engine.ini and game user settings.ini. To install this, it's very simple. Simply go down to Steam, go over to ARK Survival Evolved, right click and go to Properties. Then within inside of here, we're then going to be going to Local Files at the top, then clicking on Browse Local Files. Then within inside of here, we're then going to be going into Shoot Again, Saved, Config, Windows No Editor, and then within inside of here, you'll notice there are a bunch of different INIs. Now to install your custom ones, simply go over to the folder which you opened beforehand with your custom config within inside of it. Then simply drag over the engine.ini and game user settings into this folder and replace the files in this destination. Then once you guys have done that, you have now successfully installed your custom optimized game files. Following on from there, we can then simply exit out of both of those folders, and we can then exit out of the folder on Steam. Then proceeding on from there, we're going to be going back into the FPS guide, double clicking, and now going into the launch options.txt. Once the text file then opens, you'll see a bunch of launch parameters found here at the top, and we're going to be customizing those. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting our preferred process account found here to a set number which matches our CPU core count. Now to find what your CPU core count is, it's very simple. Navigate down to the bottom of your PC, right click on your taskbar, go to Task Manager, then go over to the Performance tab, click on CPU, and on the bottom right hand side you'll notice that there is a tab called Logical Processors, and for me that says 6. So whichever that number says for you guys, it might be 2, 4, 6, 8, might be more or might be less. So whichever that number says, simply take down a note, minimize out of your task manager, go to the preferred process account, and simply change that number to match your logical processors. So for me that is 6, so I'm going to be keeping 6. And then once that's then set, we're simply going to be going ahead from the left hand side where it says use all available cores all the way to the right hand side to mat alias. Make sure that's all highlighted, right click, and then select copy. Minimize out the notepad, go to Steam, right click on ARK Survival Evolved once again, then go down to Properties, go to the General tab, and then select Set Launch Options. Then within inside of here, it's very simple to install them. Right click on the text box and select Paste. Should look just like that. And then once that's then done, press OK, and then close. Proceeding on from there, we're also going to be disabling the Steam overlay within inside of the game, as this does help boost performance. So right click on ARK, go down to Properties, then go to the General tab, then select the Enable Steam Overlay Whilst in Game option, and use Desktop Game Theatre and VR, uncheck them both, and then simply hit Close. Proceeding on from there, we're then going to be installing some custom Exe Fixes to the game application itself to ensure that it's running to the best of its ability. To do this, navigate down to Steam, once again right click on ARK Survival Evolved, go to Properties, then this time we're going to be going to the Local Files tab found here at the top, clicking on Browse Local Files, then going into the Shooter Game folder once again, this time going into Binaries, Win64, then inside of here we're then going to be scrolling down to the application called Shooter Game. Make sure that you don't click on the BE or the server application, just the one named Shooter Game, right click, go to Properties, then go to the Compatibility tab found here at the top, and then inside of here we're then going to be checking two options, which are the Override High DPI Scaling Behavior Performed By, and also disable full screen optimizations. Now for some of you guys, both of these options might not be available, so just apply the ones which are visible to you, or they might be worded differently. Just make sure that you go ahead and apply them, and if neither of the options are there, don't worry, you can simply just skip this step. But for you guys who do have these options here, make sure they're both then checked, then press apply, and then press OK. You can then simply exit out of both the folders, and we're then completed. And then once we have installed our custom game files and our custom launch options, whenever you guys go to boot this game after the tutorial, make sure that when you go to the play section, we're actually going to be booting the game in Launch ARK DirectX 10 low-end graphics. Even if you guys are running on super high-end gaming machines, you do want to be using the DirectX 10 mode, even if you guys want to be running with the highest graphic presets within inside of the game, as the DirectX 10 mode almost runs twice as efficiently as any other mode within inside of here. So again, no matter whether or not you're running on a super low-end system or a super high-end system or anything in between, you always want to be launching ARK with the DirectX 10 low-end graphics mode enabled. Then proceeding on from there, we're then going to be going back into the FPS increase pack once again by double-clicking. Then this time we're going to be going into the optimizations folder. Then inside of here, we're then going to be installing both of the VC_Redist x86 and x64s. Now what these are, you can find the original download links again in the credits.txt if you wish to go and download them from the website themselves. These are the updates for Microsoft Visual C++ 2017. Now some people might be running on outdated versions of this. It surprises me how many people are, and staying up to date with this just helps the game run more fluidly whilst running its code to help reduce any stuttering. So first of all, what we're going to be doing is double clicking on VC_Redist_x86 by double clicking. Then inside of here, it might then tell you either repair or install. Doesn't matter whichever it tells you, just simply go ahead and press the button. So for me, it tells me I can go ahead and repair it. So I'm going to be clicking repair. And once the installation is successful, it will then notify you that a restart is required for this to be applied. We're not going to be restarting yet, as we're going to be restarting our systems after all the optimizations have been applied, so simply just press close, and we can then proceed to do the same for VC Redist x64, double click, and follow the same steps. Once that's then done and the setup is successful, simply hit the close button. Moving on from there, we can then apply some Windows audio fixes to ensure that we're not running any post-processing with inside of our Windows audio, that it's completely native one-to-one and there is no excess load on the CPU. This helps keep game audio files running smoothly, and for you guys running on more lower-end systems, this will also help reduce your stuttering and could also boost your overall FPS. But for everyone on every machine, you should be following this step. So to do this, simply navigate into the bottom right-hand side, right-click on your speaker icon and go to Playback Devices. Then inside of here, you need to find whichever your speaker output is in which you're using to listen to this video and play your games. It's usually the one with the green tick next to it, and if you're listening to this video right now, you'll see the audio levels in green here bumping up and down. Once you guys have found this, simply right click on the speaker icon you're using, go to Properties, then this time we're going to be going over to the Enhancements tab. And just to quickly notify you guys, once you apply these fixes, the sound in this video might actually cut out. Now if it does cut out, it's very simple to fix this. You just simply need to close out of Google Chrome, open Google Chrome back up, and come back to the video. Just when you're changing sound settings within inside of Windows, sometimes the sound might cut out and it might require the application to be restarted if you do so. So if the sound does cut out, don't panic, just simply close out of Chrome and come back to it, or whichever web browser you're using. Go to the Enhancements tab and select the Disable All Sound Effects tab found here in the top left hand side, and then press Apply. Following on from there, we're then going to be going to the Advanced tab found here at the top, going over to the default format drop-down menu and selecting 16-bit 44,100Hz CD quality, which is the native sound setting within inside of Windows to ensure we're not adding any excess post-processing or CPU overhead. Once that's then selected, simply press the Apply button and press OK once again. Press Apply and OK, and then the sound settings are then completed. Following on from there, we're then going to be applying some Windows Power Options settings to ensure that our PC is getting the maximum amount of resources it needs whenever it needs it. So to do this, it's very simple. Simply navigate down into the bottom left hand side and type in Power. Then click on any of the battery icons with the cord going around it. It doesn't matter whichever it says for you, just simply click on it if it has that icon. Then go to the Power Options tab found here at the top. Then simply navigate down to the Show Additional Power Plans option, and you'll find a power plan called High Performance. Select it, make sure the dot is on there, and then hit Change Plan Settings. On the side of here, you can set these options to whichever you wish to do so. They are completely personal preference. But what we're interested in doing is going down to the Change Advanced Power Settings found here. Then within inside of this tab, simply navigate over to the hard disk option, go into the drop down menu and go to turn off hard disk after, go to the setting, double click. It will usually be set to 20 minutes by default. We're simply going to be setting that 20 to 0, then pressing apply, then scrolling all the way down to processor power management, pressing the drop down menu and going into minimum processor state and maximum processor state, and ensuring both of the settings are set to 100%. Go to maximum processor state and also set that to 100, then press apply, then press OK. You can then save the changes of your power options and then exit out. Proceeding on from that step, we're then going to be going into the FPS pack provided once more, going into the optimizations folder, and this time going into CPU Core Parking 3. Now this utility here is coded by Codabag. The original website of the author has been included in the credits.txt, so if you wish to go over to the website and get a more in-depth explanation as to what this program does, or just pay some credit over towards the original author, I do recommend you do so with inside of the credits.txt. So to install this program, it is very simple. And what this program does is it unparks all of your CPU cores within inside of Windows to ensure that you can have 100% of your CPU power going towards any games or applications you are running. Sometimes Windows likes to park around about 2 cores just to leave spare for any excess programs maybe running in the background or stuff, but we do not want that whilst we're playing games, as we want 100% of the CPU resources going towards our game when and if we need it, to ensure that we're not getting any stuttering, any slowdown, and we're getting the best FPS possible. So to install the program, it's very simple. Simply double click on the RAR file, then go into CPU Core Parking Setup and double click. Then within inside of here, the setup wizard will then open up. Simply press next, accept the terms of the license agreement and then press next again. Install it to the default location and press next, and then press install. Once it's then finished installing, make sure that the launch CPU Core Parking 3 Exe is then been selected and then press finish. Then once the application opens up, it might look a tad bit confusing, but I'm going to be showing you guys step by step on how to ensure that you're getting the best performance possible with inside of your processor. So starting off, we're going to be going to our power data plan found here in the top left hand side, going to the drop down menu and selecting high performance, as that is the power plan we are now running on. And with inside of here, we're then going to be going down to the core parking index. Now for the majority of you guys, this will not be set to 100%, but we're going to be setting it to 100%. So simply grab the slider, drag it all the way up to 100%. This will allow Windows to use 100% of your CPU resources as and when it might need it. Then also going to the frequency scaling index and ensuring that is also set to 100%. So then Windows has access to using 100% of your CPU power at 100% of the speed. This doesn't mean that your CPU will be running like this all the time. It just simply means that as and when Windows might need 100% of your CPU power, it can have it without having any restrictions. So once both of the sliders are then set to 100%, simply press apply and then press OK. You can also find a basic bit of information about what your system is, your CPU speed, and the information about that if you wish to do so. It might just be a little bit of nifty information for you guys who aren't entirely sure what sort of specs your system has. Once you're then done with inside of there, you can then simply press close out of the application. Proceeding on from there, we're then going to be applying some Windows optimizations to the operating system itself, so simply navigate down into the bottom left hand side and then type in this PC. Once you're inside of here, simply right click on this PC and go to Properties. Then inside of this tab which opens up here, we're then going to be going into the Advanced System Settings tab found on the left hand side. Inside of here, we're then going to be going to the Advanced tab found at the top, go down to Performance and pressing Settings. Then inside of here, we're then going to be going to the Visual Effects tab and then selecting Custom. We're then going to proceed to uncheck pretty much every single option inside of here just by simply clicking on the boxes, and the only options we're going to be keeping enabled are Smooth Edges of Screen Fonts and also Show Thumbnails instead of Icons. I personally like to turn off smooth edges of screen fonts as well, as that is personal preference. You guys don't have to do that, but for the majority of you, you're going to want to keep this on. So once you guys have got those settings set, simply go ahead and press apply. And then after a moment, those will be applied. Then go to the Advanced tab found here at the top. Make sure Processor Scheduling is then set to adjust best performance of programs. And also go down to the Virtual Memory tab and press Change. Set to adjust the best performance of programs. And then once that's then done, we can then simply press Apply in the bottom right hand side and press OK, Apply, OK. And then we can then exit out of the Windows settings. Following on from there, we're then going to be going ahead and decluttering our systems and removing any excess caching files, dump files, or just excess Windows files that have been sat on your PC for ages with inside of a secret temporary folder. So to do this, it's very, very simple. Simply click down on the bottom left hand side and then type in %appdata%, then press enter. Then on the side of here, go to the app data folder found here at the top, then proceed to go into the local folder. Scroll all the way down and you'll then find a folder within inside of here called TEMP. Simply go inside of the folder, and then inside of here you're going to be seeing a bunch of folders and files. So what we want to do with every folder and file within inside of here, we're then going to be highlighting all the way from the top to the bottom, highlighting everything within inside of here, as these are excess Windows files, caching files, and excess stuff that you don't need in your system that could have been sat here for up to years. So once they're all highlighted, simply right click and then press delete. It'll then notify you that the action cannot be completed for all folders and files inside of here. That's absolutely fine, just simply press do this for all current items and press skip. If it asks for that again, just simply press the skip button. Then on the inside of here, you can then notice that I only have 2 folders remaining and all of the files have been deleted. That means that every other file and folder within inside of there was not being used by Windows and is not being used whatsoever. It's just simply sat on your hard drive or your SSD, taking up tons and tons of space. It shocks me how many files and how much space can actually be removed from this folder. I've heard in the comment section below, I think around about 2,000 items or around about 50 gigabyte was the most I've ever heard someone say. It's always fun to get your guys' input, so if you did actually manage to catch how much you removed from this folder, do let me know down in that comment section below, as some of the stories are wacky. And then once you're done with that, what I like to proceed to do is go ahead to my recycling bin, right click and hit empty recycling bin and press yes. Then proceeding on from there, we can then simply go ahead and exit out of the temp folder. Then proceeding on from there, what we're going to be doing now is actually updating our GPU drivers to the latest versions, as this can help out a lot, especially for you guys playing ARK and other AAA titles or early access Steam titles that are not entirely optimized. Making sure you're running on the latest driver helps your GPU run more efficiently and more optimized towards the games, and sometimes can fix any stuttering problems you might be having, any FPS slowdowns, and can also increase the overall frame rate. So it's very worthwhile doing so, as these often do not automatically update. So what you guys need to go ahead and do is you need to find out whether or not you're using an NVIDIA or an AMD GPU. Once you guys have found out that, simply navigate down into the description down below and click on the corresponding link down there for your GPU drivers. So if you guys are running on NVIDIA GeForce and you've clicked on that link, simply go over to the automatic driver updates tab found here at the top, select the GeForce experience and press download. Install the wizard, follow everything on there, and it will automatically detect your GPU for you and install the latest drivers. It's very quick and simple to do. It's a very similar process for you guys running on AMD Radeon cards. Just simply navigate down to the automatically detect and install your driver, then hit download now. Again, install the wizard, it will automatically detect everything for you and install the latest driver for your system. Then once you guys have installed your latest GPU driver, for you NVIDIA guys, you can also go into the FPS pack provided, go into the optimizations folder, and then go into the NVIDIA settings found here. And then within inside of that folder, you'll find some screenshots of the best NVIDIA control panel settings for your GPU to ensure that you're getting the best power out of it possible. I highly do recommend going inside of there, but again, that is only for NVIDIA guys only, so I'm not going to be showcasing how to do that, as the screenshots are very clear. Now proceeding on from there, assuming that we've applied all of the optimizations within inside of this video, we're simply going to be going ahead and restarting our systems, coming back into Windows, booting up the video, and then we're then going to proceed on from there. Welcome back to the video guys. You guys should have now restarted your systems and we should be on a fresh boot of Windows. We should then have Steam open and ready to boot our game. Now the last step what you guys need to go ahead and do is go into the FPS pack provided one last time, go to the optimizations folder and get the time resolution.exe. Simply go ahead and drag the time resolution.exe onto your desktop and we are then ready to use this application. Now you're probably wondering what this application is. What this application does is it basically lowers the amount of latency between your operating system, the hardware within inside of your system, and the game application itself, basically resulting in higher frame rates, reducing any stuttering you might be having, and also reducing input lag for a faster and more responsive experience. It's completely safe to use and you can use this with pretty much any game or any application within inside of Windows, as I do. So now that the program is now on your desktop, I'll show you guys how to quickly use it. Simply double click on time resolution before you want to go and play any game. Double click, then set the time resolution to maximum, which will set the lowest value possible within inside of your system for the best input latency. Then what you guys can do whilst you're playing your game, minimize the program, play your game for however long or however short you wish to do so. Then once you guys are done playing your game, close your game, go back to time resolution, select default, and then exit out. So assuming that we're actually ready to boot into ARK Survival Evolved and we are done with this guide, we're going to be booting into time resolution, setting the value to maximum, minimizing it, going over to Steam. Then the last thing that we have to do is simply go over to ARK Survival Evolved and select play. And again guys, make sure to launch ARK with DirectX 10 low-end graphics. And there you guys have it. That is my ARK Survival Evolved 2018 guide. Also works for ARK Aberration and any other of the ARK DLCs which are out there, helping you guys achieve the best performance possible within inside of the game, reducing any lag or stuttering you might be having, whilst keeping the visual fidelity at a very pleasing rate. Again guys, if this tutorial has helped you guys, please do leave a like on the video as it helps out a ton. Share it around with any friends, family, or any teammates, or anyone else that you might be squadding up with within inside of ARK who could benefit from these fixes. And also if you guys can leave any results down in the comment section below, that would be deeply appreciated as well. Alongside any questions, queries, or suggestions for other videos, I always love to hear from you guys, and it is always a pleasure. Again, for any of you guys who frequently follow my content and appreciate the work that I do, the Patreon link is down there in the description down below if you wish to further support the channel. Again, it's not necessary, but it does just slightly help balance my income, and it keeps me being able to do this kind of work at a more consistent and frequent rate. Again though, that is just for you guys who wish to further support the channel. It is not necessary. The main purpose of this channel is to be getting you guys the most out of your machines possible without costing you a penny. You should be getting the most out of your machines and you shouldn't be held back by anything, and you should be getting every ounce of the system in which you have paid for. That is the main purpose of this channel, and I do urge you guys to go around and have a look on the channel for other games you might follow, how to optimize Windows itself for the best performance possible, how to overclock your graphics cards for the best performance possible, Discord tutorials and other PC tutorials. And if there isn't a tutorial for it and you would like to see a tutorial for something, make sure you do leave it down in that comment section below, as I love to hear your suggestions. So thank you guys ever so much for watching this guide. I have been Panj, and I am out.